Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. We're going to keep this one kind of short. I had some plans for the video, but I woke up this morning, I was sick. Oh man, my nose, my head. Getting better though as the day goes on. Plenty of, just hot water and honey. And honey is one of my, one of my favorites. So it gives me more of a, this is my 5th cup today. So it's already the evening though. So it allows me to indulge in honey. I really like honey. I buy it locally, and I prefer wildflower. Wildflower honey is my favorite. Please like the video, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. Whether we're sick or not, the show must continue. If my nose looks red, I've been blowing my nose, so. If I sound different too. What do you call it? Excuse me. Also, still gotta do listing, still gotta do shipping, still gotta do all that stuff. So, life goes on. Life doesn't slow down or stop for the sick. I did take a couple naps today, along with tea. Or it's not really tea. It's just honey and water. I use these other things. They're called I want to say Burt's Bees, but it's not Burt's Bees. It's called, oh man, these little like honey, I forget what the brand is. Honey propolis, I'm really not pronouncing it right. Throat lozenges, I've been taking those, so those really do help. And of course, Sudafed. I cannot stress how great Sudafed is. Be cautious, with any medication, even over the counter. Be cautious out there. But they provide a 12-hour and a 24-hour variant. I don't mess with the standard little tiny red pills. No, we go straight to the big stuff. And that really helps clear my head so my body can heal. And I could still get work done, get shipping out because it's a little wild. So, that I can't stress enough how much the 25% off sale really just... like I've said before, we're making less per item because we take 25% off. But the volume is just way up. So kind of makes up the difference, hopefully. Once we run the numbers at the end of the year, hopefully we'll be good. We're good, don't worry. I keep track of, I kind of have a little mental note of, and I keep track of everything, how much each individual item costs. And even in bundle items, I don't really go by, you heard me talk about this where when I'm buying bundles at the flea market, I'll try to find one big item that'll hopefully pay off the whole thing. But in reality, I still have it in the back of my mind that each individual cost, that each unit cost in my mind in the back. So I'm still thinking about that when I'm buying items and when I'm selling items. So I'm still aware that there is a cost associated with each item. There could potentially be other carrying costs as well too, such as if you have it in a storage unit. We just have it in our house. I guess you can, call the room I keep everything in, there could be a cost associated with that. But, there's costs everywhere. Cost all over the place. Everything costs money. Costs money to make money. I'm able to keep things down to a very, very minimum as far as my, cost go. I mean, shipping supplies, you can't really, do that. But as far as driving around goes, driving around, storage, we're not at the point, and I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we need a storage unit. But if we do, I'll let you know, we're doing pretty good just operating here out of the house. All right. Gotta take a breath because congested, I got all the congestion going on. So my breathing, plus I have asthma, COPD. So luckily it doesn't affect me as much as it used to in my childhood. You do kind of, they always said you grow out of it. And sure enough, I guess it took a while, but I did, it did, grow out of it. But nonetheless, when you're sick, kind of affects everything here. So, but when I had several things I wanted to bring up and talk about, but we're going to keep it short, and I just want to briefly mention, well, it probably won't be brief, but shipping supplies and what I use when I'm shipping items out. And then Saturday, I want to, for the Saturday show, hopefully that'll be better. I'll have some more talking points. And I wanted to show, because I haven't showed this in a while, is a breakdown of, the fees, how much you sell the item for, how much shipping was, taxes, fees, all that, and how much we paid for the item, and then what we actually deposit into the bank. So I'll do a breakdown on Saturday, because I haven't done that in a little bit. So we'll do that on an item. But I want to show you guys the shipping supplies. I don't think I've showed that in a while. If I have, I'm trying to remember if I have or not. And what I use, the most common items that I do use when it comes to shipping, and I use these all the time. Every single day, I'm pulling at least a few of these in order to ship items out. Most of my stuff does go in padded poly bags. I have my little notepad here, got everything written down. And this one here is I transitioned from a 4x6 to this. I was having an issue with packages getting lost. And so I'm like, you know what? I need to move to a bigger size. The cost difference was very, very minimal. I think it was a couple pennies or so. But in order to help alleviate the problem of lost packages, because ultimately that falls upon you. As a matter of fact, we're definitely losing money on an item. So I shipped an item out, lost in the mail. The buyer opens up I did not receive the item, and you have to take care of that within a certain amount of time. I think it's 3 days. So I go in, I go in there and do a lost package, and they can't find it within the necessary time frame that eBay requires. So I wish they would extend that too. I wish they would give us at least a week to find the packages. It's not a week. It's pretty sure it's 3 days. And it's not business day. I think it's just 3 days. I wish they would give us longer, like 7 days, a whole week, to try to sort it out with the USPS. Because, I mean, it's USPS. A lot of red tape there. So it got lost. And I did the lost thing. Didn't happen. I had to refund the buyer. I'm like, all right, well, I'm out the money. Let me go ahead and file an insurance claim with USPS. Well, what do you know? After I file that, they find the item, gets delivered to the buyer, and there's really the case closed. So there are ways to get money back, to get your money back from the buyer, but it's not even worth the time. Maybe if it was 50, 40, 50, 60, and just remember, you're not necessarily, you lost the profit. And, that's great. But ultimately, it's what you spent on the item and or the shipping supplies you used, because the shipping supplies got lost too. The padded poly bag I used got lost. And we don't have that much into the item. So, it's, if I had quite a bit into it, like if I paid up for the item, maybe I would be a little more aggressive in trying to get my money back, but very minimal buying cost. So it's a loss. We take it as a loss, and that's why we always need to try to buy low, sell high. We got to find items at the lowest possible price. That's why I build in a little bit more into the ship. Well, obviously, in this case, I had to refund everything back, so it didn't help me here. But on other items, I build in a little bit of a cushion into the shipping to make a little bit of money on that to offset all these costs. Yeah, I was talking about cost earlier, the cost of storage, cost of this, cost of that, cost of gas. This is just another thing. The cost of lost packages, and USPS is not going to pay me now because they found the package and delivered it. So, I still, when you see people, out there at flea markets, garage sales, thrift stores, wherever, and you be like, oh man, you should pay up for that. Well, sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't, but because you got to think of all these costs that are happening. You got to think of all these things. Lost packages is one of them, and it's really annoying. Very, very hard, in my opinion, and from my experience, it's USPS does not want to pay out on insurance. No, I mean, nobody wants to pay out on insurance, but so it's very difficult. And I've had several instances where after filing the insurance and things lost, I found a lost package, nothing happens, and then once I filed that insurance claim, boom, hey, we found your package. Like, great. So USPS will do everything in its power to prevent the payout of the insurance. Sorry, my brain's still a little foggy right now too. So, either way, let's circle back. Uline is where I get most of my shipping supplies from. I do get some from Amazon. I'm always checking prices, seeing how much things are. And, with this, you got to buy in a volume. So, these ones here come in boxes of 250 per unit. And the more you buy, the drives the price down. Some products, it won't necessarily drive the individual, from Uline and from other places, there's a certain quantity you have to order. And for Uline, generally for the most part, it's like for boxes about 25, you have to get like a 25 bundle. For these ones here, it's 250. For other one, I'll show you another one here where it's 100. But if you buy more, it could drive the price down. Sometimes it doesn't. But you do have to pay for shipping through Uline. And so sometimes if you can get a bigger order, that shipping cost, you'll save some on shipping as well as drive down the individual unit costs down. So these come in bundles of 250. It's a 6 by 10 inch. And since I've moved to these, even though I have had a couple of recent lost packages, definitely have not been experiencing what I did with the 4x6. So great little poly bag. It's pretty strong too. I've shoved some things in there that really tested the limits of the poly bag, and I will still with some packages. And I'll show you a wallet later where I did wrap it in bubble wrap first. And I will wrap it in bubble wrap and then put it into one of these packages just to add an extra layer. And, with things that, where I think they may get broken or I don't want them bumped around too much, I will still wrap them in bubble wrap and put it in a bubble mailer. But here's one very common one I use all the time. So I always have this in stock. Really great size and, just clear white. So it's easy to find if it does get lost, hopefully. And let me see if this is going to be right. There we go. Okay. Now this one is very, very common. I use this more than once in every single day. Beyond, like 5, 6, 7 times. I think yesterday I did, 17 packages went in these. It was just, and it's kind of easy. It's a padded poly bag, and they stack really well inside giant IKEA bags. So these work really well. I keep them in stock all the time. This comes in a box of 100 from Uline. And as a matter of fact, I'm always also keeping an eye locally to see if I can, source locally. And someone did have a box of this exact one locally that I was able to pick up at a great price. So, that too, you just keep an eye out. It was a brand new box. So, I do keep an eye out for shipping supplies as well too, when it pops up. But this is 9.5 inches by 14.5 inches. And again, I use this one all the time. Every single day, there are several packages that go out with this padded poly bag. Again, you want to use your best judgment when you're packaging stuff in these packaging items in these poly bags. And if it needs additional wrapping, I think I've said I've had some clear poly bags that I have thousands of them that I've been using. So I've been putting things in those like clothing or Things I don't want to, and it's the rainy season, so things I don't want to get wet, I will wrap them in those first and then put it in this padded poly bag. So you want to use your best judgment. I do send glass and occasional pottery items in these. I know the shipping police will get on me over this. I've brought it up in different groups that I'm a part of, and people just don't believe me that I send stuff out, glassware, things like that. I send those. I showed you the Disney picture frames. They go inside these. Actually, you know what? I think I went in a. I do keep a slightly larger size in stock. I shouldn't say slightly because it's pretty big. Of this same style, but it's just larger. And I use that for a picture frame with glass, mind you. So what did I put in this recently? It was pottery. I think I had some Christmas ornaments that I put in here in one of these that someone ordered. You just got to make sure to wrap it pretty well in bubble wrap. Some things just don't call for a box. And I definitely believe that because I've had items in, I used to order a lot of action figures. I used to collect a lot of action figures, brand new action figures, and generally they would come in boxes. I had a series, this was several years ago, a series of boxes coming in where they were just completely crushed. And then I've had some come in padded poly bags, completely safe, and even shoved into a mailbox. So that's kind of where my thinking is coming from when I use these with all my shipping supplies, just over the years with the experience of dealing with the post office, dealing with shipping things out, fragile items, non-fragile items. That's where all my experience comes from. And that's, if you don't feel comfortable using this with anything other than, clothing or, toys maybe, then don't do it. If you're not comfortable putting glass and stuff in padded poly bags, if you don't feel like you can wrap it good enough, then by all means, use boxes. But I've shipped plates, I've shipped all kinds of stuff in padded poly bags. You will not believe, that the things that I've shipped in these things and that have survived trips. So they come in handy. Also, too, the stuff that comes from Uline is fairly sturdy, well-made. And, if you're using like Amazon-style boxes, if Amazon-style, the Amazon-style padded poly bags, or like the priority padded flat rates, those are not as sturdy as these ones that I order. So again, if you feel comfortable with it, by all means, this is just me telling you what I've done over the year and what I've learned over the years and what you can do, what you can get away with. And knock on wood. Always knock on wood, knock on wood. But I've shipped glassware, I've shipped pottery. Obviously, I'm not putting a mug in here. I'll tell you that right now. Mugs are not going in this. Mugs are going in their own little box. But there's other types of pottery stuff, smaller pottery. You're not putting vases or anything like that in these. Maybe small miniature vases, but you're not putting, maybe like a 6-inch vase. You're not stuffing that in there to try to get that sold. But there are certain things that can use your best judgment and make sure to use bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is your friend, and if you buy it in large enough quantities, and I'm not saying go buy it like at Target, go buy it at, if you go over to Postal Annex, anything like that, it's going to be expensive. The bubble wrap will be expensive there. You got to order it online. You got to get the gigantic rolls. The Uline rolls are pretty wild. They're huge, like big rig tires, just massive rolls. And why do I buy so much at a time? Because it overall the cost is lower and it lasts me quite some time. Okay, let's move on here. Enough ranting here about shipping and how I do things, and let me know how you guys ship. Let me know in the comments down below if you do what I do. If you have shipped glass and padded poly bags or anything like that, what you've shipped, and I'm just curious to know. This is another size box. Hats do not go in padded poly bags. any bag for that matter. Most, I should say, most hats do not go in poly bag and bags in general. They'll go in a box. Then this is the box that I use. Hold on, my eyes getting a little itchy right now, but this is the box I'll use for hats and a lot of other things. It's a very versatile size for me. 9-inch by 7-inch by 5-inch size box. Always have this in stock. This is one I use almost every single day. Hats go in this one. Smaller vases, pottery, glass, and it's just over the years I've determined that this size is incredibly versatile and can fit a lot of items that I pick up. A lot of items you see on my what solds can go inside this size of a box. So again, just over the years, I've determined that this is the size that works best for me. Don't go buying a bunch of different sizes. Don't go buy one specific box for hats, one specific box for this. Try to keep your costs lower and not have just random supplies everywhere. You're ordering just random supplies all the time because supplies cost a lot. And then the last one here I want to show you, these are just 4 of the most common, is a 12 by 8 by 6. Another very, very common box. Again, this one I use almost every single day. It's one I keep in stock all the time. And these 2 boxes come in bundles of 25 from Uline. But 12, 8, 6 is another incredibly common size. I use all the time, and it's very good. This works very well for shoes as well too. Loose shoes, not shoes with a box. Loose shoes. This works really well for most shoes sizes. Once you start getting up to about a size 12, then it's like even size 11 sometimes. Depending on the type of shoe model, we'll get a little iffy, questionable in there. You can kind of stretch it a little bit. But if you do stretch it a little bit, make sure you have the correct dimensions entered on eBay. Because if you do stretch it out, obviously you're going to add some inches to whatever size you're stretching it to. So make sure that you account for that in eBay when you're buying your label. Now, if you stretch this one out by about an inch, it's not really going to mess up anything as far as the cost, maybe a couple more inches. And even then, I don't think it'll really mess up the cost at all as far as, how much you're going to pay for shipping. So just be aware of that. Be aware of your dimensions as well, too. Make sure they are correct when you're entering in. You don't want adjustments later, especially, I've heard horror stories of FedEx and UPS doing their adjustments. And horror stories is in like lots of money that they are charging automatically taken out of your account. So be cautious. USPS does the same. So you really just don't want to, give up more money if you don't have to. So, okay. And then one other size I did want to mention, it's a rare size. I keep it in stock. I don't order that much. I believe that comes in a bundle of 25, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, 20, I think what it is. It's 16-inch by 14-inch by 8-inch. So it's a fairly substantial size box. And I keep it in stock because it has come in handy from time to time. Now, if that size, 16 by 14 by 8, if I were just to order, just those boxes, in the minimum quantity allowed, it's going to cost close to $3 a box. And that's a lot. In my opinion, that's a lot of money for a box. If I'm spending $3 for a box, it's going to be a massive box. But, and this is a pretty massive box. But whenever I'm running low on those, I do like to have them just in case. They do come in handy quite a bit. As a matter, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is I just used one for a very large, oversized coat. So, that's why I'm bringing it up. But, and like I said, it could cost close to $3 a box. I think it's like $2.80 something cents a box if you just get it individually by itself. So when I'm running low, I will throw it into a larger order. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the shipping, so if I were just to order that, with the shipping cost, it's going to be incredibly high with the shipping cost. But once I bundle it with other items, it does adjust the shipping cost. It actually brings the shipping cost down, surprisingly. Kind of weird. I guess, it's more beneficial to them if it's a larger order. Therefore, the shipping goes down. not only that, but when you make big orders, individual, just like when you're bundling stuff, it drives the individual cost down, individual unit cost down as well too, with boxes. But just be mindful of that. If you do need to get unusual sizes or have unusual sizes in stock, try to order them with your regular shipping supplies, so that way you get that cost down. Everything's about getting the cost down, driving costs down, as much as possible. Okay. I can feel I'm already getting a little lightheaded here, getting a little tired, winding down. My body's fighting something, fighting a virus, fighting a cold. So I think I gotta go backwards to get to the what's sold here. Okay, yeah, there we go. Oakland A's hat. It's in Hebrew, actually. So this was Oakland A's Jewish night. Let me just scratch my eye really quick. Jewish night's hat, and see I'm talking for too much. And when I talk for too much, I don't know. I guess the breathing and everything starts irritating. It's all irritated. Everything's irritated right now. So I hope I'm making sense too. Let me know in the comments down below. As you can see, Oakland A's is my beanie. I am an Oakland A's fan. I grew up watching the Oakland A's. I remember watching the big Battle of the Bay when the earthquake happened. The big earthquake happened. I was laying in my bunk bed watching the game on a tiny little TV that was really, really long, like the old school TVs. So it was a tiny one, probably about this big in my room. At the time, I don't think many people had TVs in their room. But we were lucky to have a TV in our room, and I was watching the game because I was an Oakland A's fan. Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco. Okay, I just got to make sure to take a breath. Okay. Oakland A's Jewish night hat. What did it sell for? $25. So, in my opinion, that is a little bit of the upper, more of the higher price hats. Typically hats, in my opinion, are around the 10-ish, $8 to $10 range. So anything up above $20, in my opinion, for a hat is pretty good. There are some hats that go for quite a bit more. Baseball caps, I'm not talking like cowboy hats or anything like that. We're talking about baseball hats or baseball cap style. Oakland A's, $25, $5.56 is what they paid in shipping. And again, this one in that one box, the 975 box. So really cool sale. And it sold really, really fast. Sold within a day. Which way am I going here? I'm going this way. Brass. You've heard me talk about brass. There's some brass bears. And, they kind of look like gummy bears. That's why I put that in the title. Gummy bears, and bear. So that way I capture both keywords with the S. It does make a difference. And then, the Google image helped me get the Balos, I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Brass, teddy bears, gummy bear, a gold tone to them. So I capture the gold keyword. MCM, again, MCM means mid-century modern. And then, what are they going to use them for? They're paperweights, in my opinion, decor pieces. Really cool. Brass does incredibly well. Be careful when you're buying brass. You do not want to pay too much because most of it doesn't go for that much. It's going to go for right around, depending on the size, weight, $20, $30, $40. There are some pieces that will go for more, but generally that's the range it'll fall in. And in my experience, people will have brass, they'll make you pay up. They'll make you pay $20, $30 for brass, and you just can't do that. You really got to get a low cost. Even at Goodwill and stuff like that, flea markets, they will price it up. So what did it sell for? $28.15 for the pair, $7.24 for the shipping. This went somewhere within California because that low shipping cost. These were over 3 pounds. So generally, if it's going, other side of the country, we're looking probably about $13 or $14 for the shipping. So the $7.24 to me tells me it went somewhere within my state. So $28.15. Keep your eye out for brass. Try to get it as low as possible. And speaking of shoes and or boots, this boot sold. Not a wearable boot, but a snow globe horse, the horse in the background. It's not the best quality item. It's all plastic, but I thought it was really cool, and it sold, sure enough. Cowboy boots, snow globe. There's no name. It's a no-name item. There's no sell-through rate at all. There was none other listed or sold. Really nothing for me to go on this item. So I just had to, pull from experience. Not that I've ever sold a snow globe in the shape of a boot, but I'm just thinking snow globe decor. What should this go for? What should it sell for? And can I sell it when I'm buying it? It is electronic, so it does take batteries in the bottom. Make sure to check the battery compartments on these. But farmhouse, where would you most likely see this? In a farmhouse and a Western style decor. It was glittery. It does light up. $40.43 is what this boot sold for. $14.91 is what it shipped for. It wasn't that weighty. Most of it, like I said, was made of plastic. But I believe this went to Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So really, really cool item. This goes in a, those brass bears went in the same hat box, 975. This one went in a larger size, another unusual size that I kind of keep in stock just in case. 1410-6 is the size box that this one went in. And really, really cool item. As a matter of fact, let me do my thumbnail here for this item here. I'm going to use my pen as a pointer device. Nope, wrong side. I'll try to get the eBay logo. Make a face of some kind. I don't know. Happy face, a concerned face, a surprised face, but I wasn't really surprised. All right. Let's keep going here. I'm winding down. I'm losing energy. This one here, a paperweight, just an inspirational quote. This actually is a brand or a designer piece, as you can see by the name. Vilmain and Killinger. So it is on the back of it. It just has the initials VK. But just an inspirational quote. As you can see, I didn't put quote in there. I probably should have, but you probably could use that. But paperweight desk, it is a steel. It's solid steel. I noticed a lot of people were putting pewter with this, or with this from this designer or brand, and this is not pewter. And maybe some of the other pieces that they had were pewter, but I did see some of these inspirational quotes listed as pewter. But in hand, this is not a pewter piece. It's actually incredibly heavy. It's a solid steel bar. Really, really cool. Keep your eye out for this. It kind of, when I picked this up, it was sitting on the shelf. Everybody was passing it up. It was like $2.19, I believe. I think it was actually less than that. I think it was $1.59 is what it was. Now that I'm remembering, it might be in a previous video, and it might be. Did I video this? I'm pretty sure I did video this. But either way, $18.65 is what it's sold for. So pretty cool. This goes in a padded poly bag. That small padded poly bag that I have. Again, I did wrap this in, even though it's solid steel, I still wrapped it in bubble wrap. And it was a bit weighty. So like I said, this went up over 2 pounds. $7.78 is what the shipping cost was. So again, this went somewhere locally, and if it went somewhere far, because of the weight, like if it went outside of the country, it might have been closer to, I think it would have been up over $10. And if that was the case, I probably would have used a priority padded flat rate bag to keep the cost low. And I'll still make a little bit on the shipping, a little bit, not that much, because they did raise the price of those padded poly bags. Not the cost of the bag, but the cost of the shipping charge. Okay, really quick, let me get to the last one, because I need to blow my nose, and my throat is not scratchy anymore, but it already went away. Just took a few hours and plenty of honey. Let me know if you guys like honey. My wife does not like honey. My kids like honey. Well, my daughter, she like honey? I have to ask her. I know my son's likes honey, so I always keep honey around. Works well. Works really well. Okay, last item, a wallet. Look out for Buxton wallets. Buxton, I've been sold like their little key holders. Keep your eye. This stuff just sits there in the in the little wallet thing at the thrift stores, at the flea market. Everybody passes these up. Nobody's picking these up, at least in my area. Nobody's picking these up. So keep your eye out for these. They do sell really well. You want to pay $5 or less, in my opinion, depending on the size of the wallet. The smaller the wallet, the less you want to pay. But this is a really nice wallet. Actually had inside a, if you recall, when wallets used to have a little, miniature photo album thing for photos. This one actually had one in it, which is really cool. Really retro, vintage. Buxton sells really well. What did it sell for? $21.56. This went in that white padded poly bag I showed you. $6.66 is what it sold for. People still buy these things. I don't use a traditional wallet. I use what is it called? Ridge. I use a Ridge wallet. I really don't carry cash or anything with me. So unless I went to the flea market, then I get cash out. Otherwise, I don't regularly carry cash with me. So I use just a Ridge. It works for me. I like it. Fits nice and easy in my pack. But people still love these old school wallets. Sometimes I do get asked on eBay if I have any wallets that still hold checkbooks. I don't know who's using checks nowadays. I have seen people use checks, but people still look for wallets that can fit a checkbook. So keep your eye out for them. I sell them all the time. I find this brand and I pick it up. If it's a good price, I'll pick it up and I'll sell it for around $20-ish usually. So, and that's what, that's why I like wallets, because they typically fly under the radar and they'll go for right around $20-ish or so. So keep your eye out for these things. I'm going to go put my feet up, relax a little bit, stop talking, and hopefully be healed up to continue listing, continue tomorrow. Still got a list, still got to ship, still going to make videos. So these videos, I tend to try to, make the day before, so they just have the most recent information, most recent data. My other videos, I have a bunch of them, filmed already. Usually they're about 2 weeks out, and that would have helped me in this instance. That way I didn't have to do any talking if it was one of those days for a shopping video. But it's not. Show goes on, sick or not. We still continue to work around here. When you work for yourself, or some jobs, I guess you're working all the time as well too. But you gotta keep going. You can't really stop for illness. There are things that can help you. For me, like I said, honey, Sudafed, and some rest does really well. All right, checking out. Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.